Portions of the following program may have been pre-recorded.
Say your act of contrition, young man.
Style has nice hair.
Oh,
I like his hair. I think Style's done a good job with the radio show and putting it together. And I think we all appreciate him here. And the last thing is I think that he has really soft eyes. And very warm appeal to him. So
Style, is that is this, well, you might not be able to get over it because it was very traumatic for you. Does this help?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So we can move on.
The smooching later is going to help too.
Hey now.
I think we should move on. We got like 30 more minutes
I'll
off
see you in
air,
the
and
chat.
that took way too long.
no, that was good. That filled up a good amount of time. I didn't have much on the docket.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to hang out with you guys.
No,
what's up?
for off-air conversation, Shane and I had our fucking minds blown before he
Yeah.
walked in here.
Yeah,
Hey, I think we're waking up now.
We got
But,
some-
dude,
I am so excited for that.
dude.
We got some
later.
crazy lore dump, and
Yeah,
but all is well now.
we got to talk about it off air.
But off air,
Yeah,
off air, the off air show.
Yeah.
Um,
behind the scenes.
I guess we can talk about this because I don't have anywhere else to talk about it, and I think it's
Chris Hansen.
on my mind lately. Superman came out, Fantastic Four came out.
I heard that
Is
was
Fantastic Four out already?
I heard it was.
I thought that was this
I
weekend.
heard it was ass.
Fantastic Four is out.
It is Saturday.
It's not ass. It's not ass, but it's definitely not as good as Superman, and it's not like going to make general audiences go back to movies to see
Superhero movies.
superhero movies. It's not going to be like, oh yes, I'm going to go see every. General audiences aren't going to say, oh yes, I'm going to see every single superhero movie now
Okay.
after this one. It was good, and I really enjoyed it. Granted, I'm a huge comic book Marvel
Right.
superhero fan. Mega. I was at the midnight movie for both of them. I saw Superman twice. I'm not the general populace, and I think that we've talked about it before, but it's not like superhero fatigue. It's just like they were really bad and oversaturated for a long time.
So can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of people say that the Superman movie's good. I have
Mhm.
not seen it yet. I do plan on seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
For you,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the question I've asked everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was filmed in a place that you are familiar with, you've seen it. Did that play into you liking the movie? Because you're like, ooh, I recognize that. I know that.
I
I've been
have
there.
I have good context for you. I went to the filming of Superman. I was on the set, and I intentionally, me and my buddy went and parked and just walked around
Okay.
the areas that we knew that they were filming at
Gotcha.
because we wanted to see it. So there were scenes in the trailer and in the movie where it was I was literally right there, and I have pictures of that set piece on my
That's
phone
cool.
that I took. So there is. I told this to Style when he told me that he saw the movie, and we were talking about it after that. That definitely was an added layer to me, but genuine, no hesitation. I know that this is not going to be the way that a lot of people feel, but I love that movie. It might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Really?
It made me feel, and this was something that so Superman, the S, it stands for hope.
Yeah.
And I was I was like, man, I really want something that makes me feel that. I want a good, hopeful, I want it to make me feel good about. And the whole movie, Superman is just this milk toast, super yuppie, happy, go lucky, goody two shoes guy who's doing things the right way. And there's this sentiment that him and Lois Lane have, spoiler, but there's a sentiment that him and Lois Lane share of maybe that's what punk rock is. Maybe now the new punk rock is loving people and being kind and not doing things because that's what society tells you to do or what society sees, but because that's what you feel is right. And I think it just gave me a good sense of that's some traditional American hope watching that movie of we can be good people and help each other, and it's not all just toxic assholes that the news shows you and that you feel is the common rhetoric now and with everything always. I feel like something like Superman was a good splash of we're gonna be okay. This is a good in the right direction. You know what I mean? there's a line in the movie that, and it's very like, in the context of the superhero movies and very, but one of the characters says, well, something that conservatives and liberals can all agree on is that we hate Lex Luthor, is that Lex Luthor sucks. And I was like, that's funny. That's very
that's
like,
pretty good.
that's on the nose. And,
Yeah.
like, I think that's kind of the needle that this movie was trying to like, there's like, just make everyone happy.
Okay.
Like, let's just make everyone feel good with this. So I really genuinely love that movie, and I encourage people to go watch it. It was very good. Fantastic Four was cool too. I love Marvel. It tied into a bunch of shit, and it's gonna, tie into Avengers movies, and we're gonna be watching movies in 3 years. I'm gonna be like, remember Fantastic Four when this happened? It was great. I loved it, but I don't think it's like gonna make people be like, yeah, I need to go see Thunderbolts, and I need to go see all the old Marvel movies now. It's not. That hype is gone.
So, and you, Jordan, you saw Superman?
Yeah, I saw Superman.
Did you feel the same way?
I mean, it was a good movie.
Because you had the lean back. I was like,
I don't disagree with anything he said.
yeah.
But I it's not like
I
in
will
my
say,
top 5.
I think that
Okay.
your comparison that you said to me was good.
What did I say to you?
You said it feels like Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It feels like
okay.
an Indiana Jones, not in terms of like feel of the movie, but just like rewatchability
Yeah,
of it.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Interesting.
I'm cool. I don't need to see it again. It's
And
a
that's
good movie.
And that's a very fair take. I just think for me, again, there was like I said it to you, but there was the added layer of me being there. I was anticipating, like really wanting it to be a happy movie, and then it was a super happy movie, and I was like, this is, it was exactly what I wanted,
Yeah.
I think. So like there's 1000% an extra added layer, and to really like circle back and answer your question, there's a lot of scenes in the movie where it's like it almost takes you out of it because of how much it feels like you're looking at Cleveland and
That's
not
cool.
like Metropolis, which feels cool.
Yeah.
You're watching it and Superman's flying around and you're like, oh, that's the Department of Justice, and oh, that's I can very clearly tell that this is shot in Cleveland. Like a lot of the movie feels like that.
That's why I like the Avengers so much, because there were a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, okay, that's there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, that's there.
See, I almost had the opposite effect when it came to the whole setting of it, because they use a lot of CGI obviously on the city to make it not look so much like
Right.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
It looks like Cleveland in some parts, but other parts it looks like they clearly
Yeah.
tried to distinct it from.
Right.
That's what drew my attention, was the amount of CGI they used, seemingly unnecessarily for the city. And like the Lex Luthor's camp and things like that, there's a lot of CGI for. That's what I was focused on. The only 2 times that it really took me out of it, of like, oh man, this is Cleveland. There's a pretty big scene with Jake, Progressive Field, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
that-
like it's a
yeah.
very, and I told Shane this, I never realized, because I'm not a big baseball fan, I never realized how significantly different the Jake looks than any
Yeah.
other baseball field.
Yeah, it is different.
But like they show them going over the top rail of the field. I'm like, oh shit, that's the Jake. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. And then there's a couple scenes just when they're in the streets, where the main courthouse downtown is like the backdrop, and I'm like, oh, that's a very iconic
That's
building
cool.
in Cleveland, and yeah, that's where that is.
Yeah, because like when I remember I watched the Avengers in theaters with friends, and we popped for it every time. Like I mean, it's like a blur, but you could see like the CSU building when they're flying through the air, and you're like, oh shit, oh that's the terminal. Oh shit, like so.
Right,
Yeah, that's
right. It's definitely, and that's something where like for some people it takes you out of it, and it feels like I can't sink my teeth into this movie because it feels like I'm not watching a movie. It feels like I'm looking at my city.
right.
And then there are some people who it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That adds to Cleveland is Metropolis.
we got a text real quick. We got a text just because it's right on that.
Yeah.
It being in Cleveland really threw me off because I saw too much Cleveland and it wasn't Metropolis.
Yeah. I brought up the point.
216-859-8699, by the way, to text in.
Yeah, text us here. We'll give you a sticker, and we'll talk more about your Superman take or your superhero
but I
take.
mean, Superman. I mean, I like the fact that it was filmed in Cleveland because he was discovered here. Like he was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's
Did
all a part of
what's the paper he works for? What is
the
it?
Daily
Planet.
Planet. Okay, then what's the Daily Bugle? Which one is that?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Okay, I get those mixed. Did they use the AT&T building for the Daily Bugle, because that's the building that like inspired the building in the comics
I don't know.
with the green top? Now it
It's-
says AT&T on
It's
it.
No.
very
No.
possible, but I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, if they did, they didn't show the full building
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
They use Tower City a lot, though.
I always
Yeah.
Oh,
forget.
that's cool.
You see,
Okay.
very clear. There's a scene where it's like, oh, this is the arcade, and it very much you're in
That's
the
cool.
arcade.
I always
You're
forget
in the middle
that's-
of the arcade.
Superman was conceptualized in Cleveland.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that the man who wrote Superman was in Cleveland.
Yeah, like
I
Yeah.
found that
the
out
house.
like
Yeah, the house is a museum.
weeks
You could
ago.
go see it all.
mhm.
They so another cool piece.
It's pretty close
the-
here too.
Akron train station, the big Akron train station, or maybe it's the Dayton train station, something like that. Dayton Central Station, something. It was the inspiration for what the Hall of Justice, where the Justice League would hang out in the comics. Because they were from Ohio,
Oh,
and
really?
they saw this train station. That is what visually inspired their drawings for the Hall of Justice. And so then when they were filming the Superman movie, they went to the train station to make it the
That's
Hall
cool.
of Justice in the movie. So like real life inspired the comic, inspired the movie from real life. You know,
Yeah,
like it's full
that's-
circle.
Yeah, they went back to their roots. That's cool.
Yeah. It was a very, very good movie. And I
And
definitely
that's how it should be.
if you're from Cleveland, or if you know people in the Cleveland area and you know what the city looks like, definitely watch the movie. And also, like, I think just more recently as I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate Cleveland more. It's a very cool city,
Yeah,
and
it
we
is.
have a lot of good stuff, and it's not like it's not big like Chicago or New York. It's not super crazy. There's a good level of hustle and bustle, but it's not like wild and almost stressful when you
I-
go outside.
Speaking to that, I had to explain to a friend. So I went to a
Because yeah,
Guardians
you
game.
you travel
Yeah.
a decent amount. And you see a fair amount
I'm
of
a
the big
striper.
cities.
Like I went to a Guardians game and they called me when I was walking to my car and I go, "Hey, let me call you in like 10 minutes. I'm leaving a baseball game." They're like, "Huh, okay." And I call them 10 minutes later and I'm on 71. They're like, "How do you get out of the city so quick?"
That's Cleveland.
And right, and I'm like, that's just the way that like you could get in and out. I'm
Right.
like, unless there's like a Cavs and Guardians game at the same time, then yeah, you're gonna wait like 15 minutes.
right.
And she's in Denver and she's like,
Oh yeah.
it takes me an hour and a half if I go to a baseball game. And I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
She's like, there's not even that many people there because the Rockies are terrible. And I'm like, I don't know, there were maybe 20,000 people at that Guardians game. But
Right.
yeah, I'm like, it doesn't really take it doesn't take long to get
it's
out.
quick getting in and out. Granted, like rush hour times, you can wait in a little bit of traffic, but that's any city. And like but I think there's just a lot of cool sights and like good food in Cleveland and I mean, speaking to the Superman movie, the architecture in Cleveland is super beautiful
It's
and like
so underrated.
old looking.
Yeah.
It looks very gothic and old, and it's just I think it's like a good niche little
Yeah.
like hidden gem. Quote, it's obviously it's a big city,
Well,
so it's not
and
a hidden gem.
It's
but
weird how many people you hear say that in interviews. Just like, dude, whatever Cleveland's doing, they shouldn't change it. Like they're
Right.
doing a great job. And yeah, I know. Well, Phoenix's traffic was terrible.
I
It's
believe
one of
it.
the worst I've ever been in.
Like even like going, like if you go to Hopkins, to like if you're gonna catch a flight out of Hopkins, I don't know, you maybe need to show up 45 minutes before.
Yeah, like an hour.
And you just walk in. Like I have pre-check for TSA, so but I just walk right through. By the time I get to my gate, I maybe have like 20 minutes until it takes off, and I'm like, cool. If I go to Sky Harbor,
Yeah.
dude, or like any other airport like that, like the closest I could find to something with that Cleveland kind of like just ease and feel was Salt Lake City. That was the close, and Des Moines, Iowa was pretty close to Cleveland.
That's
What about
interesting.
Davenport, Iowa?
No,
That's the Holy Land.
But
That's
like
the Holy Land, baby.
right, but like Des Moines, Iowa was nice.
That's
but
interesting.
it
Utah
wasn't-
and Iowa.
Yeah,
being close to Cleveland.
yeah, Salt Lake, but Salt Lake was weird too because it's got just like the bad part is bad,
I'll say
and
this.
it is downtown. It's not like we're like with Cleveland, it's kind of outside downtown. Like it is downtown, and you're driving around, you're like, oof.
Yeah.
I'll say this: East Cleveland, not a great area by any stretch of the imagination. Like, and Ohio itself gets a bad rap because of East Cleveland and because of like downtown Akron. Those are the two areas that
Yeah.
give pretty much Ohio all of its stigma. And trust me, I get it. I get the fucking I hate Ohio. This place sucks. Nothing ever comes out of it. I get it. Trust me, I
Yeah.
do. I spent most of my life in that sentiment, and then I became an adult. And I bought a house,
Yeah.
and I realized I can afford a house with
Uh-huh.
land, and I realized that you can drive anywhere you want in Ohio. If you don't want to live by a city, you don't have to live by a city
Yeah.
in Ohio. If you want to live in the city, you can live in the city if you want in Ohio. If you want mountains in your backyard, you can have them. If you want a lakefront property, you can have it.
Yeah.
I hate the winter. Sure. I do. If I could go without the winter, I'd go without the winter. But I'll take that give and take. I'm not going to sit here and say Ohio's the best place on earth and go hometown team.
Right.
But like you guys said, it's the little things too that get overlooked. Of like we talked about all that almost 12 hours at this point. We got what 4 hours left, 2 hours left, 2 hours left in this Rebelthon.
Mhm.
We talked about all day. Look at the music scene in Ohio.
Yeah.
And you heard all these artists
Yeah.
talk about it. We've talked to artists from Chicago and Texas and California and Nashville and all these. The music scene's not there.
Yeah.
The community for the music scene's not there.
Yep.
It's cutthroat. And I get it because radio is the same game. Radio is very cutthroat. Step on next to get your position.
Yeah.
But even that, and you and I have talked about this, Jake, even that in Ohio isn't as bad as it is in other markets. And you'll know better than I will because
Yeah.
you've been in other markets in radio. We're still friends with people at other stations. We want to see them succeed,
it's
even if
not-
we don't like the station.
Yeah, it's not like that other places. Well, and also in Ohio, something that's really and I don't know, maybe I've just been lucky, but I know for you too, where the older guys aren't scared to be like, you need something, let me know.
Right.
That does not happen other places. That does it's strange because we tried to like raise funds in other cities with what I was doing for like a year ago. And just for simple stuff like canned food drives, just stuff like that. Nothing. And they're like, well, we can't expect much. This is a poor area. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I'm like, no. I'm like, Cleveland's the second poorest city technically in the country.
Right.
I go, they show up every time. Like they just do. Like if somebody needs something, even if I don't have it to give, I'm going to give what I can. And something else. So a friend of mine that I used to work with, they lived in, they had lived in LA and then they lived in Maine. So two completely different things. They were here for work for like 3 months. They stayed here and they're like, dude, I get it. They're like every weekend there's a different festival. I don't know how you guys pull it off in Northeast Ohio. But everybody, all your different cultures, you have festivals for them and you celebrate them. Like there's always something to do. I went to a German fest on Thursday. Now I'm going to go to a Hungarian fest today. And tomorrow, next week I'm going to the Polish festival. And then they got a Roman and a Greek. And I'm like, damn, you're right. Like I've never thought of that. But like we have a little Italy. We have a little Chinatown.
I live in
and-
Polish Village. And
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what I'm saying. And like it's embraced and everybody is like, oh yeah, we're going to
That's
go
just
to
what it
Polish.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like we're okay. Yeah, no, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Like everybody's cool with it because they know they're gonna go there. They're gonna hear good music. They're gonna dance a little bit. Like it's not like that other places.
I'll say
It's
this.
not, and it's crazy to think, especially real quick because we're raised with that. We're used to that. And you go somewhere else and you're looking and it's like, why are there only 5 people at that festival? They're like, no, that's a good turnout this year. I'm like, what? What? Like they go nuts for these in
Right.
Northeast Ohio. We love this shit.
Right.
I know we only got like 10 minutes left in off air, so I'll make this quick. This will be my last point.
Mhm. Fine.
And this is just me. This is a me thing. This is not anyone else going to have this experience. This isn't, for someone visiting or contemplating, right? This is me. This is purely me. And I've said it before, maybe it's just because I'm old and soft now, and I'm a gay little bitch now. But here's the thing. At this point in my life, I've had time to reevaluate the things that I value more than other things. And yeah, trust me, Ohio, Cleveland, both have their faults.
Yeah.
And the three of us know very well, me, Shane, and Evan, we grew up in a very small community. We call it the bubble. And, it's 3 generations of families living on 4 streets, And trust me, I get the experience of, damn, this sucks. I want to get out. I don't want to be stuck in this. You don't have to be trapped in it, right? But for me, at this point, and I'm not speaking specifically to that, I'm just speaking as a whole. Family is one aspect of it, but I have family everywhere.
Yeah.
I was able to buy a house here. I'm able to afford a house here. It's 20 minutes from everywhere. You can hop on the highway and go and get somewhere. I can go to the city. I can go to the country. But more importantly, I have connections and relationships here that I wouldn't be willing to throw away just because I want to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
I love Nashville. I love the outside of Nashville, around Hendersonville. I love West Virginia. Both are beautiful places in the right areas, right? But you could offer me $1 million tomorrow in a house there, and I'd probably say, yeah, that's great. That would be nice. But everybody that I know that I want to be around and spend time with is here. And not to get too serious on this, but we've got a finite time here. And I would rather spend that time around people that I enjoy and I care about than have a house somewhere where it's not the city. It's not the
mhm.
city. I don't have to worry about the
Yeah.
city. Oh, it's not the country. I don't have to worry about the. I'd
Right.
rather just be around the people I care about
Right.
and make the best of what's around me. That's my take.
Well, I had that job offer to go to Denver. This was like 4 years ago, and I would have been a program director for one of their top news stations, and I would have been afternoon host, and it would have been good money. Would have been on the affiliate for the Broncos, like it would have been good.
Right.
And I'm just like sitting there and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, dude, like, I really like. There's just I don't know what it is, but I've been to a lot of places, and I and obviously a part of it is like, yeah, this is home.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I love the fact that we do have all 4 seasons here.
Yeah.
You don't have that everywhere.
That was.
You know?
I forget if I talked about it on the show last week or if I talked about it with Style Off of Air or something like that. But it's a sentiment that's been brought up to me a couple times recently because people have been. We were going through a heat wave right now in Northeast Ohio, and people have been complaining about the heat. And it's so funny because we have dog shit winters and people will complain their dicks off about this winter sucks and I fucking hate winter. And then as soon as it gets a little too hot, people are like, this heat sucks. I fucking hate this
like we
heat.
go through it every year.
Right. And so for me, I'm just like, it's really genuinely cool that we get to experience the true peak form of all 4 seasons. We get a very true blue fall. We get a very true blue winter. We get a very true blue spring. We get a very, very true blue summer. It's all, we get the hot days. We get the orange leaves, we get the high snow and snowball fights, and we get like the beach days.
That was one of the worst parts about living in southern Arizona, is that it was no season, just desert.
Right, just desert the whole
all
time.
year.
Desert and
And
hot the whole time.
Hot and cold, that's all it was.
Well, like I know some people that I worked with that live in LA, and it
Mhm.
was during the fall, and I'm on video chat with them, and I'm like, I was driving into Cleveland. I go, oh, you guys got to see the leaves, and I start showing them, and they're like, you have that many trees outside Cleveland?
Yeah, that's another thing people in the West don't understand.
and I just put it on the mountain. I'm driving, and then I forgot what highway it was on, but I go around a curve, and then right there's Cleveland, and they're like, that's the best setup I've seen for a city.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, that's insane.
People in the West,
they don't
come
know
over here
trees,
and they don't know how green it is. Over
Yeah.
here. It's very green.
Well, and I think it's like we really forget the fact that at least in a lot of the area of Northeast Ohio is a national park.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it's like
and the metro parks.
the
do a great
metro
job.
parks. And so it's
And
like
there's mountains if you go south.
Right. Like you can genuinely see some very pretty naturey
Yeah.
trees and like walking paths, and it's very fruitful in that aspect too. I think there's so much that you can do. I was just at a buddy's like lake house,
Yeah.
and he had like, it was his house, and then his backyard was a dock with
Yeah.
a boat on Lake Erie, and like you could go to Kelly's Island, or you could go to whatever.
I was telling a friend of mine to come out here because she's going to Columbus in September. We're all going to meet up there, but I was explaining to her, I'm like, come up here, go to the national park. And she's like, well, how much does it cost? I go,
You nothing.
I'm like,
Park,
nothing.
park.
And she's like,
Park your car.
she's like, what do you mean? I go, people live on the land. Well, what? And like, I'm explaining it to her. I'm like, well, it became a national park, like, I don't know, like maybe 20, 30 years ago. People just built their houses on it. Like, people live there. I'm like, my cousin lives like less than a mile away, and it's just all, houses.
Mhm.
You
And
will
she's-
have to deal with the grass men though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
In the
And
West,
she couldn't understand it because she's
in the
never-
West, you have to
yeah.
pay to go to a national park.
Right,
And it's
well-
a daily fee usually, or a
Yeah.
pass. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went on that tour of all the different ones, I like $30-$40 each park.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I think Cleveland is just a very interesting place to live in terms of like the opportunities you have, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
You can do pretty much whatever if you really look for it, or like look for the community for it. And I think that's kind of interesting. And also, it's just a good city. Like, it's a vibrant city. Like you said, there's festivals
Right.
every weekend in the summer and in the spring and fall. Like, that is a sign to me of like a good city
And if you're from
established.
here and you're trying to do something, they're going to support you.
Yeah.
Like, the moment they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I like so-and-so. Well, they're from Cleveland. Well, let me take a listen to it.
Yeah,
let me,
right,
if they're
right.
one of us. Yeah.
right.
Miz, Dolph Ziggler, like, what you look at Dolph Ziggler's career, there wasn't much, but like every time we're like, I love Dolph Ziggler.
Listen, if we
Like,
start talking about wrestling, we're going on a tangent. Shane, I know this is your show. Do you mind if I do a little wrap up?
No. Wrap it up.
We can talk about this after the Rebelthon if you want, but where's that leave off air?
Okay, so I guess I'll tell everyone. I'll let the listeners in on the secret. I'll break kayfabe a little bit. I have just recently found out that my wife is pregnant. I'm gonna be a daddy. And so, with that being said, though, at the end, and this is something that Style and Jules and I have talked about, at the end of September, I will be stepping away from co-hosting the Rebel Radio Show.
How you feeling about off air?
I think if Off Air wants to continue, Off Air should continue. I think it's a very easily formatted show, and that was the way that I intended it to be. Obviously, I'm the host, and or at least I was the host, but that doesn't have to be how it was. I'd be happy to pass the reins on to anyone here who's worthy.
Do you want to host off air?
I'll host off air.
That'd make my dick hard, honestly.
Yeah,
Are we
no, I
going
can
to
do
make
that.
this canon on the Rebelthon right now?
And I think,
Yeah,
you know,
dude. Yeah, if you want me to, I will.
you can do.
Listen,
whatever
I've
you-
been promised so many times that I was going to be the next guy up. So if you actually want to do it, I would be honored.
Listen, you're getting the strap, man.
All
You're
right.
getting the push. We're putting the rocket on your back, pal.
All right, you're
you.
doing what a lot of people promised and they
You-
would never do.
You owe him a handshake and a hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Where's
God, they're doing the Mega Power
where's
handshake.
the glizzy?
Oh, my God. The glizzy's getting in the jaw.
Do whatever you want with it, though. If
Oh,
you want
that's
to
where the
change it.
glizzy-
no, I
you
mean
know.
it's
It's all politics now.
No, not at all.
All politics and religion.
No,
Hey,
I
man.
Yeah, that's all
That's
off
all-
air is going to be now.
whatever
It's
you
just
want it
gonna
to
be
be.
talking about
Whatever you want.
Yeah,
it to
no,
be.
I mean I like the theme. We'll keep the theme. I mean, you
I
know.
want to make it easy. I want to.
Well,
I want it to be easy.
Well, yeah,
for-
but also keep in mind, like I love tradition, and there's obviously people there that follow it and they like it. So I'm gonna keep it relatively the same.
and
so.
furthermore, I don't want it to sound like I will never be on Off Air again. You know?
I was
yeah,
going
no,
to say,
you'll be-
I don't want
yeah.
to speak on behalf of, well, I was going to say your show. I guess Jake's show now.
Yeah,
I don't want to speak on behalf of Jake, but we'd love to have you on as much as
course.
possible, too.
Mm-hmm.
You're not my fucking voice.
Fuck
Okay?
you, dude. All right.
I think,
No, of course.
If of course if you'd have me, I'd love to stop by sometime.
Yeah,
you know.
This is our chance to cut him out completely.
Dude, I know we've been talking about this.
me and Jake been planning a hostile takeover
Ah.
of off air for so long.
Fuck, this is so crazy, guys. The last hour of the fucking Rebelthon, and we're dropping fucking nukes.
We're
like
lore
this.
dumping. We're lore dumping.
216-859-8699. Text in to get a fucking sticker.
Sticker.
The preceding program was a WSRR radio production.